Oh fuck yeah!
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? This is fucking
It's
Zach.
cracking. This is Dave.
This is the Zach and Dave Make a Podcast.
We're doing it
We're
again
doing
on a
it
Thursday night, dog. What's up?
on the club's going up
Thursday.
on a
But we're
Thursday.
here.
And we want to welcome our very special guest. He does
Because
the
we
In the
have to
Neutral
have
Zone podcast.
every
with me.
single fucking member of that podcast on our podcast.
Yep. Scott, I'm 65 years old. 65 years old.
What's up, dude?
What up?
What's up, bud? How are you?
Dude,
How's it
you're
going?
like a 65-year-old man in a 25-year-old guy's body. It's crazy.
That is not true, though.
It is crazy.
Simply not true.
65-year-old man in a 21-year-old's body.
There we
you
go.
go.
That's a little more feasible.
Recently, his
that's
birthday.
True.
Oh yeah, that's right. 21. I
Yes.
keep forgetting how young you are. It's just
Yes,
you're so
sir.
refined. You
Very.
have to be at least closer to 30.
He at least smokes like 5 cigars a year.
You know,
Oh,
I can never
yeah,
get
long
into
cigars.
cigars. Can
Nah,
never
me
get
either.
into cigars.
Nah,
I smoked
no.
cigarettes for like 6 or 7 years, and I can never once get into smoking a cigar. I don't know. Have you ever smoked a cigar, Scott?
Nope,
Or is he just
never.
pretty much it now?
I would have no idea how to even.
Zach? Just
No.
because you're pops, I'd imagine, right?
I
No?
put my mouth on one, but I couldn't fit my mouth around it. So what's up, bud? How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Just chilling. Missed the
Same old
podcast on, what was that, Monday? We had it?
Oh yeah, we did record on
The
Monday,
Intro
yeah.
Neutral Zone podcast. Missed out on it, but I'm back. Ready to talk about some shit.
Were you busy jerking it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Atta
No.
boy.
Now, before we
That
got
full
on,
hour and a half.
before we got on, you said you made what? Some
I mean,
kind of ice cream?
This is a bourbon ice cream drink. So this
Oh,
is
shit.
bourbon, whole milk, vanilla extract, and maple syrup.
Ooh.
Goddamn.
And it's delicious.
That actually does sound bomb though.
It
Like,
does
that's some
sound
shit
bomb.
that I would drink.
Like at 7 Grand Whiskey Bar in downtown LA, that would be like a $25 drink.
Oh yeah, hell
For
yeah.
Probably.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh dude, you need to go there, bro. 7 grand whiskey or 7th grand?
7 grand.
Mhm.
7 grand, yeah, 7
Yeah.
grand. It's a whiskey bar in downtown LA on 7 and Grand
Yep.
or 7th and Grand. It's
Ah.
fucking sick, dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean the actual ambiance inside of the bar is like super chill, but dude, they have bourbon and whiskey galore, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
It,
that
it's
sounds
essentially
good.
just a giant wall with any type of like hooch you're looking for, and then like 2 or 3 beers on tap. If that.
But the beers they have on tap are decent. I mean, you
Yeah.
wouldn't really be into it, but
And I
dude,
can
there's
go finally.
yeah, there you go.
Well, not really.
Well, not right now,
when
but
when
you know.
COVID is over, we'll
yeah,
go.
exactly.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
We'll make a trip on down there.
I had a question about COVID and like post COVID. How long will it be before you guys like take off your mask? Like
Honest-
after
I'll let you take it, Scott.
I'd say once. So it's supposed to be 2 vaccines, right? You get the first
Yeah.
vaccine and the second vaccine. I'd say
Yeah.
after that second vaccine, I'd probably be fine with it. As long as
Yeah.
like people that I know, like my family and friends, they all also have the vaccine, then I'm chilling.
I was actually talking about this with somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was, but I'm legit. And I was talking to my dad and my brother about it. When the whole pandemic is over, I'm gonna stock up on those N95 masks.
Oh yeah.
And the reason being, during cold and flu season, I'm gonna wear them anytime I go out. Anytime I go out, I'm gonna wear one.
So
during
you're gonna
cold
make
and
it a
flu.
habit, like a lifestyle change almost.
Especially if I go to Disneyland, for sure.
That makes sense, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, man.
I mean, you can't trust anybody, dude. Look at
Hey.
the sheer fucking stupidity that we are living in right now, bro.
Yeah.
it's
True.
wild, man. Where
True.
people are like, I don't believe a scientist. Really? Or a doctor? What about doctor? No, you don't believe the doctor
Like an
either?
overwhelming majority of them too, though. Like it's not just like, oh, this one doctor says this. It's literally like all of the doctors around the world are saying this, and you
Yeah.
don't believe them.
I'll never understand that, and maybe that's just because of lack of education on that person's part. Like, for
Or maybe
saying
it's
something
just
like that,
a
like,
maybe it's just the lack of uneducation on your part, bro.
maybe, man.
But,
But
no,
I'm
I
not the
mean,
smartest guy either. But like, you could see right through that real quick.
see that's what
True.
I've like told people before, Scott. It's like, bro, it'd be different if this was like one person, but it's the general fucking consensus, bro.
Yeah,
Like it's a
it-
shit ton of doctors and scientists who are saying this.
Exactly.
And everyone's like harping on that one, like 99% survival rate. But then, like, you hear that number, and then, like, let's dive into it. How many of those people in that 99% are dealing with some sort of post-COVID
Oh yeah,
symptoms? You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. But even
Like,
on top
how-
of that, like even if it's a 1% death rate, that's still a lot of fucking people.
it is.
And how
Dude.
fucked is it to be part of that 1% of people that died from something like this? You know
Dude,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Los Angeles County alone is, or LA County alone is what, 27 million people?
Something
Is-
like that. I think it's close.
27
like,
million?
I thought it was like in
Yeah.
the 30s. I thought it was
All
in
right.
the 30s. I could
Either
be
way,
wrong about
if it is 27 million, 1% of 27 million is what, 2.7 million people? Bro,
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
I'm not
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah, that's wrong.
I'm
That's
not
wrong as
okay
fuck.
with that. I'm not okay with 2.7 million people dying for no fucking reason. When
Wait, no,
all
that's 10%. But still,
Oh,
like even then,
it's 270,000
70,000
people.
people dying. But still, like that's
That's a lot of fucking yeah.
That's a lot of
Well, that's a game
needless
people do.
death.
Yeah.
Is the point?
When
Like,
all you got to do is wear a
put a mask.
fucking mask or just stay the fuck home. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
You,
But oppression, dog.
is your home life that fucking miserable that I have to go out? I have to go to Chili's. I need Chili's or Applebee's right now.
Man. And we all know,
For real.
dude, that food is trash. You can do better
Whoa,
at
whoa,
home.
whoa, 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 whoa. Chili's is
dubstep remix.
whoa, 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 whoa. Chili's
hey.
Chili's is decent. I'll give Chili's that. Chili's is decent. Okay, all right, fucking
Burger. I'll get a
$200
burger. I'll get a burger at Chili's. I won't do
$200
anything
a plate.
else there. I like
What's up, Thomas? What's up, Jason? Thanks for joining us, boys.
What's going on? I can't see
Cheers.
any of that. Oh, that's the private chat. Cheers. Salute, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks
What do you?
joining us.
Okay, so we got the ice cream drink with
Yeah.
bourbon. Zachary, you're right above me. What do you got, bud?
I have the Candy Cane Imperial Stout from Dew Claw Brewing, the pastry.
Very
art.
festive of you.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I feel very basic right now, dude.
If you guys,
The hazy IPA from Charlie, or the Charlie hazy IPA from.
look at Nessie.
Oh yeah. If you guys couldn't tell, we like conspiracy theories, and I thought this was funny.
If I were to take my shirt off, you guys would see the nipple clamps that have the string of lights going across. But I'm leaving my shirt on this episode, bro.
Yeah, don't.
They got me to
don't
take my
show
shirt
anyone.
off last game.
No. Hey, speaking about games, how'd you guys do today?
We didn't play.
What happened? You guys striking for social injustice, or?
Yeah, dude. I kneeled during the anthem, and
Yeah, proud of you.
nah, the team we're playing that we're supposed to play couldn't get enough people, so they forfeited, and then
Damn.
and then the owner like just folded. He's like, this team's no more.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
somebody else took over the team, so they're gonna do
That's
what they're doing. But
unfortunate, man.
that's a free 2 wins. San Diego's still in first place.
I'm
Take
not
'em.
mad at any of that. The San Diego Anchorman.
The San Diego Anchorman, dude, first time owner, fucking in first place. Dude,
Yeah.
What's the experience been like for you owning a team, or just being an owner in general for
It's
something
fun.
like this?
that's fun. I mean,
Back in the day, I would think you would think something like this was lame.
Well, I mean, like, all right, I'll get into that right now. But either way, so like the experience for me is a lot of fun, man. And the reason why it's a lot of fun is I get to organize people, do all this good stuff, and it's fun to play hockey with the same people over and over and over again, right? Like you build chemistry, yada yada yada.
Absolutely.
Feel
When
that.
when I built my team, I made sure that everybody that I drafted were chill people. I don't want people who have massive egos because playing a video game and being good at it is all they have in their life. And I also don't want people who rage quit because they're losing. Like, I'm all right with losing, bro.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're not
Part of
going to
it.
win every fucking game, right?
Oh, true,
Literally
yeah.
part of it.
But-
It's part of gaming culture anyway.
I've
Yeah,
had a lot of
true.
fun. My captain Oswald's a really good guy. He's a fucking bitch though, but he's a really
Okay.
good guy. I don't know. He's probably not watching, but either way,
Probably not.
no, probably not. But either way, he talks so much shit to me, like in Discord and our Discord, that my players have no respect for me. they all just talk shit to me.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
I got to jump on that Discord a lot more, man. I just
It's
suck
fun.
at keeping up with like chats like that are that big and that involved.
You just
Yeah.
suck at communication, bro.
Basically, yeah.
Dude, you
That's why
can
we do a
text.
podcast.
You can text this guy Scott, right? No.
Uh-huh.
All right.
You can text this guy Scott.
He could literally just text you, like he like says what's up to you. You text him right back. He doesn't get back to you to the next fucking day.
That's not all the time true.
And this guy's a fucking bitch. He's on his phone all the time.
All the time true. Sometimes I forget to text you back. You'll
You
hit me
text
up
in your
and-
head. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I swear to God, I text this fool back.
So, dude,
I'm horrible with my phone.
Case in point.
I can say that wholeheartedly. I'm horrible with my phone.
case in point, he and his wife had my daughter over at his house for like a whole weekend, like watching.
No.
Okay.
And then
Cool,
he texts me like, "Oh, dude, I'm feeling like shit today or whatever." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "What the fuck? What's wrong? You have COVID? Like, what the fuck?" And this
Yeah.
fool didn't text me back. I had to text this fucking lady. I
What?
was like, "Rita,
fool-
does this fool have COVID?" You can't be saying that
Fuck
kind
you,
of shit.
Hold on. Fuck you, Thomas.
Not during this time.
Thomas calling
Thomas
me out.
said, yeah,
dude.
he said very true.
Thomas was part of the wedding party. And
El
yeah,
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
El
He,
Logan.
firsthand. It was even worse when I was younger, dude. Way worse. I've actually gotten quite good at it now. Communicating.
He
I'm very proud of myself.
There you
Very,
go.
very proud of myself.
the only time Dave would ever text you when we were younger is if he needed something.
That's not entirely true. I'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Let's pick up a satchel page or something like that.
Pretty much,
Or,
yeah. Smoke a lot of weed.
yeah, we used to smoke a stupid amount of weed, like on like a daily basis.
Yes, we did. So what the fuck are we talking about this week, Dave?
I don't know, man. Like the last time we had Scott on, it was a guest appearance,
That's true.
and it was a very there was a vibe that day, right? And I was drinking, and I may have agreed.
You were
that
drinking.
I
Yeah.
was drinking, as I normally do on this podcast. Now, I may have agreed to saying, let's talk about this and let's talk about that. And I don't know if, I mean, we could talk about whatever, but I really, what I said was I wanted to get into how the United States has fucked over Latin America over the years. We were talking about embargoes earlier. We were also talking about Venezuela. I don't know if we have too much to do with that, but Scott is the
We
resident.
do.
Oh, we have a
Uh,
lot to do with Venezuela.
Well, this is why I'm not the guy to talk about this. That's why we brought Scott here. Scott's the resident, I wouldn't say expert, but I mean, you're more versed on this than we are, and we
Yeah.
trust you.
I'm not an expert by any means. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a professional politician. I don't know shit about that. But like, at the same time, I do a little bit of studying on this topic.
Now, the United States, where we've touched basically everything in this world, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh.
Specifically Latin America. Where do you want to start in Latin America? Where should we do bottom? Should we do the places we've least fucked over, or should we just start all the way at the top? People we fucked over the most in Latin America.
I mean, we can go from like the start and talk about Mexico, because I think that was probably the first country that really started getting fucked over by the U.S. And like,
Okay.
it pretty much started with Spain. First of all, Spain was the one that started it all, because they're the ones that took over all of Latin America. So like, Portugal took over like a few countries, but for the most part, it was Central America, Mexico, and then most of South America was taken by Spain. And Spain was fucking awful.
oh hell
Like,
yeah!
Yeah,
Absolutely,
they're
just, like,
shitty.
What was his
destroying
name?
cities.
Fucking Contreras, or what was his
Cortez.
Cortez? There we
Cortez,
go.
Yeah, just completely running a campaign in Central America and Mexico, just taking over and just destroying and raping anything possible.
They were
Right.
looking for gold.
Any bit of land, any person, and yeah, in search of gold and silver. and
Scorched
so-
earth style. Let's
It
go.
started
Yeah.
with that. Then poor Mexico fights for their independence, because of course they do. They want their independence. Then France helps them out to fight for their independence. Cool for France.
Okay.
Awesome. They get their independence from Spain,
Who wants
at
to
least.
be held captive by France?
So you say that. So first, Spain goes away finally, and it's just Mexico doing their own thing. There's a civil war, shocker. France is also involved in the civil war because turns out they wanted to take over Mexico. And so then they're dealing with this hardship. They're constantly dealing with war, and so because of that, they're an extremely poor country. Then Texas comes into play.
Yep.
And with the U.S., they just Texas, by the way, independent state. It was a completely independent state, independent from Mexico, independent from the U.S. The U.S. decides we're just gonna go in there and take it. Right? It's our people anyway. Like we're just gonna take Texas. Why not? And Mexico was like, nah, that's gonna be our state now.
Oh shit.
They try to take over Texas. It's this huge battle. It's the Mexican-American War. America actually goes to Mexico's capital in Tenochtitlan. I don't know if it was Mexico City at the time or not. I think it was still Tenochtitlan. But they take over that city, completely destroy it, and then just leave. The Mexico just completely surrenders, so they just leave. Yeah, they just laid waste and left. And so since then, the U.S. has tried so hard to just keep ties to Mexico and constantly make sure that Mexico is in check. Whether that's their regular revolutions, they'll hire, and we'll see this with a lot of countries. Right. They'll hire death squads to work as independent contractors, independent, not hired by who knows who they're hired by, even though it's the CIA. Fuck. And they'll just work with those death squads, and those death squads will help take over the country again and just delve a country into chaos. And that happened with Mexico. It happened with a ton of other Latin American countries.
So I got a question here.
Oh, good. You brought up a really interesting point, so I got one too.
So, case in point, like California, right? You got a lot of my Latino brothers and sisters who are like,
You're Latino
this is
too, Doug.
This is Mexico, blah blah blah, yada yada yada.
It was originally, yeah.
Yeah.
But at one point, do you just say like the U.S. won it fair and square? They came in, fucked shit up, and they took it.
Since I'd honestly say it's mostly a native thing, because Mexicans, not all Mexicans, most of us have Spanish blood in us now because of how Spain wiped out the population.
Yeah.
But at the same time, from a native Mexican standpoint, you're Native American, and so you talk about it like.
Yeah, but didn't other native Mexican tribes take out other native Mexican tribes?
Oh yeah, the Aztecs especially. The Aztecs were known for their brutality with other territories.
Aztecs were known for brutality within their own kind. I think they played a game.
So it begs the question.
It was like a basketball game where the winner got fucked up.
Yeah.
So it begs the question of. So it's fine for other native Mexicans to do it to native Mexicans, but if a foreign country comes in and says, I'm going to fucking take this, they beat your ass, then at that point it's like, nah, this isn't all right.
I think it depends, because you're talking about...
subject, yeah.
No, just
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
No, I get you.
Yeah, for sure. But
that's hard. That's a hard question to answer, dude.
Because it's mostly you have these people who are native to these lands, and I guess it depends on how you group people together, right? If you say okay, Native Mexicans, Native Americans, they are Native Americans, they're grouped together. When they fight over land, that's all of their land, it's their battle, they deal with it. And then I also think motive is a huge thing. Because, for the Aztecs specifically, actually, I'll talk about the Mayans. The Mayans, they had a lot of infighting in their own land. And with the Mayans, it was mostly this is a battle between us and this is part of our culture. It became this family war where it just went on for generations of well, my father fought this person's father and we're trying to kill each other for this land. I must now do the same. And so it was just a generation style war. And also when it comes to some native cultures, war is just part of their culture. And other native tribes seem to accept that, especially with the Aztecs. It was kind of just obviously there was
part of it, yeah.
Yeah, there were tribes that went against the Aztecs. That's part of the reason why the Spanish even won that battle or that war. But for the most part, it's part of their culture just to battle one another. But at the same time, it's never taking over land. And I don't think it was rarely ever I'm taking this territory is now mine. It was I'm taking this territory. You are allowed to still live here, just not your leader. They usually the Aztecs anyway sacrifice the leader, but it's like you're allowed to stay here. Just know that we are better than you. That's all.
Fuck. Sounds a lot like America, dude.
Kind of, yeah.
So I mean, we came in, took the land, right?
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, we have constantly kept them in check via, hiring death squads and stuff. So I mean, if you can parallel that to today, I mean, look at the cartels that are down there, right? You have to know that some of those cartels are CIA backed. They have a vested interest in having one in power and one not in power, right?
And that's one of the questions I actually wanted to get back to, is that when we say the government, we're not talking about like the post office or like the police.
Oh, no.
We're talking about a specific
special interest
agency.
groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the CIA being one of them. Remix, dog. I wanted to do that. The CIA obviously is definitely a part of this, right?
You gotta,
not only just CIA.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say you gotta ask, who the CIA is working for at that point, right? So
Exactly.
So, drug companies and stuff would have a huge vested interest in getting to like poppy fields down there and the marijuana down there and stuff like that, like keeping that shit flowing, or the prison industrial complex.
There you go. Yeah, true.
Keeping people in prison for slave labor.
Right.
Slave labor.
A good example of that actually is in Guatemala. Guatemala was a great example because it was literally a dictatorship that the US backed, and the reason being was because Guatemala was such a huge producer of bananas. It was the banana republic, right? And so that's why
I stopped there.
companies they produced these companies got money in the US from bananas that were produced in Guatemala. So the US or Guatemala citizens, they tried to take over the country again, and they tried to kick out these US companies, and all the US government then did was just hire, I believe it was death squads from Uruguay, to start a civil war that they weren't even really part of, and completely overthrow the left, like a socialist government in Guatemala.
It's a common theme with the U.S. amongst the world, not even just like Latin America and stuff like that. If you look back at Iran in like the 60s and 70s, it was a thriving democracy, one that would rival Israel and have a huge power in the Middle East. But
for sure,
U.S. was like, nope, we don't like that. So what we did, the Iran Contra, dude, we essentially funded a coup with a crazy conservative like Ayatollah, got him into power, and then because we got him into power, now they hate us. They absolutely fucking hate us because of what we did to their country.
Didn't we kind of loosely do the same thing with Muammar Gaddafi?
Ooh. I don't know if you guys know this about
because
Libya.
I thought Libya was creating correct me if I'm wrong, like a currency that would trump the United States dollar.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
So Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, bless you.
Bless you.
Muammar Gaddafi wanted to run a canal from his coast all the way into Central Africa. And he wanted to provide water to like all of Africa with this canal, right? Beautiful. And then he wanted to unionize Africa. And when he unionized them, he wanted all of them to use the Libyan gold dinar.
Yeah.
And then that gold dinar was going to replace all the dollars that are being used to spend for oil in those countries.
Thus killing the American dollar.
Because I don't know if you knew this, but have you ever heard the petrodollar?
No.
Oil is traded in U.S. dollars. All oil throughout the world is traded in U.S. dollars. So to buy oil, a company has to transfer their money over from, like, let's say, like francs in Germany to or euros to U.S. dollars to be able to buy that oil. So if the gold dinar became the standard, there goes the value of the U.S. dollar. But yeah, I mean, we do this all over the world. And
well, think about it,
we especially fucked over Central and South America.
What would happen to the United States if the U.S. dollar was fucked? like that.
they
Let's say,
lose
for
their
instance,
number one spot. So like I think realistically, it's not like the US economy would dunk so hard that everyone would just be like it would be another Great Depression. I don't think that
Right.
would happen if the government knew how to handle the money, right? I don't think it would be, which I know.
if it's this administration handling like they're handling the COVID pandemic, then we're fucked.
Yeah, so if the government knows how to run their money, nothing realistically would happen to the American people. America would simply just lose their number one spot in the economy, which they would hate.
Yeah. It's an ego thing. It's not even what's best for the country. It's always a fucking ego thing. It bothers me so much.
And like Philip Agee, who is like I think it's Philip Agee. Yeah, Philip Agee is this like former CIA agent who
Yeah.
worked in Central America, and I think he ended up moving to Cuba because he became a whistleblower against
Oh.
the US, and he talked about how the whole reason that we would destroy any country or we stage a coup in any country and hire these death squads is simply because these countries would become comfortable and no longer dependent on us. And we need these countries to stay dependent on us so that we can still keep our number one spot.
And we can plunder their shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So we essentially so like it's like the notion of like
Fuck.
we see a country, we fuck them up, and then we tell them, here, we're gonna help you rebuild.
Yeah.
And by us helping them rebuild is, oh, you're borrowing all this money from us like to rebuild this country. Like now you owe us.
Yeah, basically. We
and-
gave you democracy. Now you can get that on interest payments.
There's a thing going on in Africa right now where China is essentially buying up like a huge ass port, or they're gonna help Africa build this fucking port, and then Africa has to pay them back. But if Africa misses a payment, that port is now theirs.
Oh
Wow.
fuck.
Wow. That's fucking ridiculous.
Dude, that's what you do.
I mean,
when
isn't that
you're
what we did in
power, bro.
Iraq? Didn't we do that with Iraq? We bombed the fuck out of basically any livable space in Iraq, and then we let Enron, you guys go in and rebuild Iraq and give them democracy.
That was just a straight regime change, bro. Saddam Hussein, I don't know what it was with him, just because I was a little young when that first went down, so I don't know what
you're 26?
Yeah,
When 9/11 happened, 20 or 26.
No, dude, Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11.
I'm just kidding, man. No, I
No,
know.
you're not. No, you're not.
No, I know they had
When was
nothing to do with the
when was the
Saudis.
first Gold War?
What did you say? I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
When was the first Gulf
Oh
War?
no! Oh no! You're breaking up.
Exactly, 91 and 92.
92,
bruh.
93, 90, yeah.
Either way, Iraq had
91, 92.
Iraq
Yeah.
off Miller. What's that? Bleh.
Aha!
I pooped a little. That's a shitter that's on my team.
Oh damn!
Yeah, he's a fucking shitter.
Like a fourth line shitter.
Yeah. Ooh, that sounds bomb. So what other knowledge do you want to fucking drop on us, Scott? What do you want to go to next?
we
Well,
can
you brought-
definitely still talk about like
You said something.
private
in the-
companies.
You said something that was really interesting earlier. You said the words civil war, and I feel like fucking every time we talk about anything that's going on, people break out into this weird
Smooches.
conversation about wanting to bust into a civil war. Based off of what's happening in today's America, do you think that's something that's even plausible?
In
A
the
civil
US,
war
a
amongst
civil
all of
war?
us?
No. It's not plausible.
Neither do I. Yeah, I don't
Just
think it's
because because most people aren't really that extreme yet. Like we don't have a majority of the population that's actually that extreme. And even like and not only that, but then you have like so many people on the left like me who just aren't gun owners. And
You
so
should be a
it's-
gun owner.
You should.
Yes,
though.
You should
I
be.
agree with that 100%.
You should be. See,
And
dude,
be-
as
and then get
liberal as I am,
classes.
as liberal as I am, bro, I am pro fucking Second Amendment. Now, do I
Same.
think somebody needs an AR-15 to protect their home? No,
Nope.
a shotgun will do the job. But with that being said, I'm pro fucking Second Amendment, dude. Get a gun,
As am I, yeah.
buy one.
Same.
And then not
Mm-hmm.
only buy one, become like proficient at it.
Oh, hell
Don't
yeah.
suck at it. Like be good at it. Just be good at that.
So here's my thing, dude. I feel like if the U.S. were to plunge into a civil war, it wouldn't be a civil war that we know. Like we're used to, like, oh, dude, like there's gonna be tanks and fucking battles and stuff like that. It's not gonna be like that, dude. It's gonna be like the civil war that was in Ireland. You're gonna have like crazy crazy like leftist groups or crazy right wing groups that are just gonna
Mhm.
like fucking bomb fucking post offices and kill a bunch of innocent people and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shout out to the IRA, by the way. Shout out.
The IRA. I hate the Irish. I'm English. I like being Canadian and not feeling the need for weapons. I mean, it's a lot more peaceful up there, bro.
True.
But with that being said, I don't think I feel the need as an American for it. But it's the option is there. I'm not going to say no to it. You know what I mean? I wonder how he feels like if the option was there. Well, the option is there for them, right? Like they can.
It's a lot. There's a lot more hurdles to go
it's a
through.
lot
and stuff like
harder,
that.
but at the same time, like I feel like with the protests that are going on in Canada with the native population, and the native population is absolutely being fucked up by the police. Like we are seeing absolute police brutality. So at what point do you say, man, those natives should potentially have guns, just to like not necessarily like to use them, but just to say like we are armed, we are ready, you know, at any point.
This fool. This fool. We just
I
have
thought that was a
snowball fights.
stereotype.
I love it. I love it, dude. I fucking
straight
love
up
it.
thought that was a stereotype. I didn't know that was a real thing.
So here, and that's another thing that like I kind of like want to know when the fuck's this gonna pop off. But like, even with all the police brutality like in America, like when are we just gonna start fucking shooting back, man?
I don't think you want that, man.
Why?
So I'm one of those people that says like I don't advocate for violence. Like I
don't
wish
either.
that yeah,
Me
exactly. Like I
neither,
wish
man.
things could be solved peacefully.
I'm a peaceful
but at the same
person.
time, historically, violence has solved issues when it comes to a class of people that's being oppressed by another class of people. Violent revolutions have been the solution to things.
But see, though, it'll never work, man. And the reason why it'll never work is because you have ignorant fucking white people. So like everyone's playing. Everyone thinks this game is being played between like white people and minorities, and that's not the fucking game.
No, it's way
The
deeper.
game-
There's fucking layers, dude.
The game is fucking classism, bro. It's the
It is,
wealthy
yeah.
elite
It is.
pitting all of us against each other. And it's not even just like fucking like white people, right? It's these people who have bought onto the ideal of the American dream of like, oh, dude, if I just work real hard, I'm gonna fucking make it rich one day. And it doesn't work that way, dude. It just
absolutely
doesn't.
does not.
It does not work that way. And those people bought into that shit hook, line, and sinker. So
It's
those
so
for
abundantly
sure.
clear
And
that
hold
it's
on.
about who you know and it's not what you know.
hold on, because I'm about to tie it into our main topic, right?
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So they make those people who have bought into that hook, line, and sinker hate minorities and the minorities that are coming here. But the reason the minorities are coming here are because of our failed foreign policies in those Central and South American countries. Dude.
So that's exactly why we can talk about
So deep.
just smooth.
Like that, huh?
It's why, and it's like probably also why we can't really just say, hey, there's one solution to a thing. Like we can't just say like, hey, this problem can be solved if we just do this,
Yeah.
because it's all connected in a way.
No,
right?
dude, because you can't just leave their country and leave them to fend for themselves. You can't, because you've already
No.
fucked it up
Yeah,
so
you
much.
destroyed it.
Yeah, you've already destroyed it so much that you can't just like, oh, we're done here, and then just pull out. We
So,
can't do that in Afghanistan. We can't do that in Iraq. We can't do that
Nope.
anywhere.
And to talk
Yeah.
about that, like El Salvador is a perfect example of that, right?
Okay.
Because we forced a civil war in El Salvador. They were having a leftist movement. They were going to instill at least social democracy, maybe even socialism in El Salvador. We staged a coup. We sent death squads over, started another civil war between a small group of conservatives with death squads and a large group of leftists. They have a civil war, hundreds of thousands of people die. That leaves the country in absolute ruins. They no longer have a government, or at least their government basically has no control over the country. And so because of that, where are people going to go? How about the US, where things seem fine? You know, and you can potentially live that American dream, which like we obviously all know is not necessarily true.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
to some extent, there are folks that come here and get to live out that
True.
American
But
dream.
that is
I know
a
that for
small
fact.
but there's a that's
It
a
is
a
small
small
minority.
percentage.
number.
And so
But-
you go there for the chance, Except you then, with El Salvador at least, they then got put in these shitty neighborhoods. They were granted asylum because because America was saving them from socialism.
Right.
They got granted asylum. They got put in these shitty neighborhoods where, in order to survive, they had to commit crimes. So they commit crimes and then get sent back to their country because they committed crimes in a government that doesn't exist. El Salvador's government had no power, and they sent over gang members to then control it.
So,
Oh my god.
just in case the 5 people who
The
are watching
long
right
game.
now, MS-13 started when a bunch of metalheads from Los Angeles got deported back to El Salvador. They banded together over there, and now we have MS-13. It's like the same concept of like Al Qaeda and stuff like that, bro. Like,
Essentially.
we make these things. We make them. If there's one thing America knows how to do really well, it's fucking
Making-
kill people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's terrible.
That's how you. I think that's how you become like the number one in all sorts of different
Oh
categories.
yeah.
Because you get good at killing people. You know what I mean? It's so crazy.
It is. It is. And to
It's
think
depressing.
that like our country was like built and founded upon so much blood, it kind of makes you cringe a little bit, right? Like, oh man, like I wish it really wasn't started like that.
It's just accepting the history. Like you have to be willing to accept it and then try to fight for the change in that.
So all of this stuff, all of these coups and everything like that was legitimately just to stop socialism and communism. And you want to know why they wanted to stop it so hard? Because you can't in a capitalistic society, you can't let the workers know that they hold everything.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is.
You
And
can't let them know that.
Well-educated and healthy people don't fight back, and those are some of the things that are offered with a socialism type outlook. It is
Okay, but let's not conflate socialism and communism, because a lot of people do that.
they're
bro.
very different.
They
So
are
different.
very fucking different. Communism is when the government owns everything. When
basically.
Well, no, yeah.
in socialism, the workers own everything.
So yeah, but even then, in communism, we've never seen communism happen ever because it's impossible.
It is.
Communism implies that there is literally no capital. So I think people compare it to Star Trek a lot, where there is no money, there is no like luxury in life. Your sole purpose in life is you get everything for free, and you just try to help benefit humanity. You try to move humanity forward.
On
That's the
paper,
only point.
on paper, communism is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I would want to live in something like that, dude, where everybody's
it's-
helping each other.
It's why for me, I'm like, communism can't happen unless the world becomes communist. Because the second that, even if the US magically decided to become communist overnight, if they were to do that, there'd be another country that just tried to take over or bully the US. Whether that be
100%.
England, Australia, you
Yeah,
know, one of
anybody,
those
any one
richer
of them.
countries, would absolutely just try that.
100%. But dude, and it's going back to what I was saying. Like literally, all those coups were so that people here in America don't get this idea or this wild hair up their ass. They're like, "Holy shit, man! If we all work together as like the working class, we can fucking rule everything." Like people still don't understand, dude. That, like our government is literally like a shadow government that's ran by the wealthy elite, bro. The Rockefellers, the fucking JP Morgans and shit like that, dude. Like,
So yeah, I got 2 points for this actually.
yeah.
So one was we were so close to this happening twice. We were so close to getting at least a social democracy in the U.S. twice. One was with Abraham Lincoln, because when Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, the reason that he did it was solely because he knew that the working class didn't own slaves. It was only the rich people that owned slaves. And most people would rather, or it was mostly out of fear. It was like the second that they take away slaves' rights, which they had done, that's the second that they then move over and try to take away workers' rights.
Yep.
And then the workers get fucked over. And so that's why that huge movement happened. That's why Abraham Lincoln pushed for that. And
And
believe
why
it
he
or
got
not,
assassinated.
a lot of people
Exactly,
don't
yeah.
know this, but Abraham Lincoln and Karl Marx actually wrote to each other often. They were pen
I did not
pals.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln and Karl Marx were pen pals, and Karl Marx, they often shared the same ideas. And so there was a point when slavery was abolished that Karl Marx was like, we are going to see a real American revolution. This is going to be the first time that we see workers actually revolt in the US, and it didn't end up happening.
No.
Almost happened.
Oh, hold on.
Go ahead.
Who do you think? Who do you think's the second president that tried to, who had democratic ideas?
I thought that
FDR.
was at JFK, right?
FDR.
FDR.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, after World War II, he died before he got to implement it. That was when we were the closest, because he wanted universal income, universal housing, and free healthcare. Those were positions and policies that he was going to push in the 1940s, and then he died before he could push them.
And then there's one more president who pushed strongly on unions. And guess who that is? JF motherfucking K, bro.
Yeah.
He was
He was a
pro
union guy.
he was
in the intro.
pro union, pro workers' rights, dude. And look what happened to him. Got a fucking bullet to the dome, bruh. It was literally in our intro.
I got a question for you guys. Do you
Yeah.
think it was just Lee Harvey Oswald?
100%
Or
no.
was it no? Can be, right?
It was either CIA or FBI.
The
Either one of
Zapruder
them.
film basically tells you that he got shot in front.
Oh,
His head
yeah.
goes back
when
and
the
to the
bullet, yeah, when the bullet hits
Yeah.
him, it's like this. He gets shot in the head up here, and his brain comes out the backside.
Yep. Hence
there was
why Jackie Onassis was trying to grab brain matter on the.
Yeah. Well,
on
she didn't know what
car.
the fuck she was doing, bro. She had
Yeah.
no idea what the fuck she was
Yeah,
doing.
that was.
But
yeah.
so, dude,
It's
I
a
was
state of panic.
literally looking into this the other day. I don't know why. I was just reading up on it.
I've been looking into it like more recently
In the Zapruder film, you see
Mhm.
a man
with an
standing.
umbrella.
Well, not only that, but a man standing on across the way, right? Like on the grass, like across the way, with a camera snapping photos of the grassy knoll. They have never been able to find that guy and his photos.
Ugh. I
Because
wonder
if-
why.
Because if they did, they would see that there was a shooter on the grassy knoll. Nah, dude. I literally did a report in my 11th grade year. We had to write a thesis paper, and my thesis was proving that JFK's assassination was a conspiracy. And one of the things that I read into was that Lee Harvey Oswald was a terrible fucking shot. He was a terrible shot, dude.
The media, every story you hear is he's a Marine marksman.
Nope. All the reports coming out of the Marines that I read said that he was at best like okay. That gun he was using is
bolt
terrible. The manicular, I can't say the word, but the manicular 90 whatever, it was an Italian gun that was
Right.
notorious for jamming when trying to get quick shots off. You couldn't get quick shots off with that gun.
Now, yeah, they said that he got 3 shots off in
Roughly like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, which is
Or-
ridiculous on a bolt action rifle, where you have to work
Hit a
the
moving
bolt.
target.
Well, not only that, but you're working the bolt to change out the cartridge and then reload the cartridge every time you shoot.
Well, no, the
So
bolt
he
action
had-
is like click, 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 click. Like that's all it is click, click, like that. Because it had
Well,
like a
that's what I
clip
meant.
underneath. Keep this topic, and you have me for 10 more minutes before bed. Hey, let's go.
And it's crazy because before that JFK had given a speech about like secret societies. Like if you look it up on YouTube, he does a speech about how they need to get rid of secret societies and things of that nature, and how
It
we
was
need to
coming
live
for
in
him.
truth. Yeah, they were coming for his ass, dude.
No, he was coming for them.
that's what I'm
That's-
saying.
And that's why they took him out. Another interesting tidbit about the whole JFK assassination. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the CIA, or no, the Secret Service the Secret Service and the FBI never communicated about Lee Harvey Oswald ever. The secret
in that they trying to vet him.
No, that
And they weren't able
the FBI were surveilling Lee Harvey Oswald at the time. Lee Harvey or the FBI never told the Secret Service that, hey, you're having this open air like parade with nothing guarding and this guy has like the potential to like kill somebody like that. He had
like Russian ties too, right?
But he had already tried to assassinate a local political figure.
That's right. He wasn't successful. Right?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
It was attempted assassination. So there's that. And then also, there are over 10,000. All right, we'll get to that right now. I don't even know how that ties into what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, when they talk about time travelers, they talk about aliens. Like when people contact aliens, they're talking about time travelers. Dude.
Hold the fucking phone here, okay? I'm not done.
Sorry.
You got me all riled up on this.
Okay.
There were over 10,000 windows along that parade route, and the FBI or the Secret Service never did a canvas of the whole entire parade route.
I mean, that was
kind of makes you feel like they knew something was coming.
You hate to think that the president's bodyguards are capable of something like that. Obviously, they are.
Yeah.
So they're on a no-fail mission, man. They can't. That's something that you can't fuck up, man.
No. If you had to bet your bottom dollar, Scott, who do you think killed JFK?
It's hard to say based off of like how he handled the Cuban Missile Crisis, how he handled the Civil Rights Movement. Like it's really tough to say. I mean, most likely the CIA, just because of how things were handled, and you look at what the CIA was trying to do in those areas and trying to do with the Civil Rights Movement. It was kind of
they're trying to infiltrate it.
Yeah, it would make sense.
What about you, Dave?
There's definitely, I mean, like I said, the Zapruder film shows without a doubt that JFK, the kill shot, his head, it goes to the back and to the left, almost like into Jackie Onassis' right shoulder.
Why do you keep calling her Jackie Onassis?
I mean, that's her name, dude.
Jackie Kennedy, dude.
Look her. That's her fucking name.
Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. So you think? So you think he got shot from the grassy knoll?
Yes, or the underpass.
Oh, the overpass.
The I forgot what the overpass.
Oh, you just reminded me of some shit that I read. Some shit that I fucking read.
Someone said that they saw smoke from the overpass, but
what I read is that there were people in the parking lot that's behind the grassy knoll, and they seen 2 or 3 men running from the overpass.
Weren't they never interviewed though? Like
they were never interviewed. The men running. The cops went to, but was it a 360 no scope? Jesus Christ! And it's been long enough that we can make jokes about it. Okay. Either way.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, it's pretty bad.
Either way, though,
it's shitty. But yeah.
The cops went and interviewed or did something with the men that they saw running, and then nothing ever came about it. It was never in the Warren Commission. Nothing.
By the way, just look at the private chat and look at the link I just sent you because you're talking shit, and your boy is not wrong. That's her fucking name.
Does she get married again?
I think that's her maiden name.
Oh,
yeah,
that
might be.
No,
Yeah.
Her maiden name is Bouvier.
Marge Bouvier.
She must have got married again. No, it's fucking Jackie Kennedy, dude.
Bro, I don't know. That's all I know.
So what about Cuba, Scott?
What do you want to know about Cuba?
Enlighten me, bro.
Why the fuck is everyone so pissed off at Cuba?
Like, okay.
Back in the day.
Not even, I mean, now, too. Like, people still considered Cuba to be a horrible place, right? But, like, I guess it started with a U.S.-backed dictator. Can't remember his first name, to be honest with you. I know his last name was Bautista.
I think it was Jackie Onassis.
Yeah.
It was Dave Bautista.
You're an idiot.
But, yeah, it was Bautista.
Fulgencio Batista.
There you go.
That was fucking hard
I
to
guess.
say.
Yeah, I don't even know. But no,
Here,
it started
send
with
it to
this
you.
U.S.-backed dictator, and essentially, what happened after that was there was a massive Cuban revolution led by Fidel Castro,
A leftist
and Che
revolution.
Guevara. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a leftist revolution.
They normally are.
He pushed for socialism the entire way through until death. Basically, he was pushing for socialism, and we got to a point where they won the revolution, and because they won the revolution, the Soviets saw that and thought that they were companions. They wanted the Soviets were shitty, by the way, too. Like I won't cut it. Like Soviets were shitty.
Yeah.
They also
They
tried
were-
to dominate the world with their influence,
Yeah,
just
they
like
were
the U.S.
the-
did.
Yeah, they're just the political opposites of what fucking political opposites of what
Mm-hmm.
fucking what America was. Fuck you,
Yeah.
Miller. Fuck you. I love when he's proven wrong. Fuck you, Millsy.
But
Fuck
in this
you,
case,
Jonesy.
like in this case,
Wait,
the
that's
Soviets were
Millsy?
being nice. No.
No.
Oh.
No, okay. I was
Sorry,
gonna
sorry,
say.
sorry. Say it again.
But in this case, the Soviets were being nice, so they donated a lot to Cuba. They were helping Cuba just run as a country in general. They were giving them resources, whether that was wood, steel. They were giving them everything that they
Nice.
needed. And Cuba was doing so well. Cuba actually ended up twist the bomb. Oh my God.
This fucking guy.
Hey, but kind of true though.
Hey, I
Anyway.
just want to give Furry a shout out to because he took the night off from playing games just so he could watch our stream.
Hey, shout out to Daniel.
Our
Shout
little,
out, dude.
our little teddy bear.
He's right there, right there, clipping his toenails and shit.
Did we ever tell you that story, Scott?
Yeah, I think I heard the story last time on the podcast.
Clipping his
That it
nails.
wasn't actually even him though.
No, but it's him though.
It was
Clipping
him. It
his
was totally him. I heard, because I could hear like the click from the ingrown that he got. So he clicked it, and he went.
nails. Oh, it's so true. So true. Okay, but
fuck.
so Russia
Anyway,
provided all
He
the
scored a
shit.
goal. He scored
Russia
a goal the other
provi-
day, and he was like, "Why?" Okay. Oh, hey, Zach, are
Hey.
you still sending Pete pics?
Fuck you, Oswald.
That's your captain. He's no what they do not respect you.
They don't. And Miller is one of my shitters. Look at him. Fucking.
Hey, listen, I think you need to start firing some people.
Yeah, dude.
Everyone's expendable. You know?
Wait,
Yep.
is this the guy that was wearing the Airwalk socks?
No. But what I do need to start doing is sitting on people's faces butt naked.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a bad
Make a lot of
idea.
money doing that.
Oh hell yeah! Only
If you started an OnlyFans and did that, you would make a ton of money.
Oh yeah, dude. Fucking just sit my smelly ass onto some faces. I'm down.
There you go.
Yeah, dude. And mostly be
That's
your lady,
capitalism right there.
mostly be your lady.
Back
But,
to Russia.
Oh yeah, so Russia was giving Cuba a bunch of resources.
Yes.
Cuba was doing really well. Castro, as soon as he came into power, he introduced an education and literacy program. During Batista's reign, I believe it was like a small percentage of children actually even knew how to read in the country. And pretty much as soon as Castro came into power, oh no,
no,
no, not on here, not
no,
on
no,
here.
no. Zach's gonna tear his fucking groin right now doing that.
I almost tore my hamstring.
That's exactly what
Like,
we were
yeah,
saying.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I could smell your foot through fucking. the
My feet are
internet.
clean. Stop interrupting Scott, dude.
we're getting sidetracked like crazy over here.
Sorry, it's the
It's fine
feet.
though, because we have drinks. But no, Castro introduced a literacy program. There were he went from a small percentage of people could actually read in the country to like 95% of the country had a decent education and could read, or at least in certain parts of the country. There were still rural areas where people didn't really want to, like the education wasn't available to them at the time. But I mean,
Now, when you say like a decent education, like are you? What do you mean? Like that you could, they could read at their grade level kind of education?
No,
or-
like
Oh,
they
even
college for
better.
free too, right?
Oh,
yeah,
no
and it was free
shit.
college. Yeah, so
yeah,
it was,
dude, it was like a straight education system, like
yeah,
ours.
there was
Oh,
at
man.
a even better than ours. So there was at a point where under Batista, people would become farmers. Like children would want to become farmers. That was their dream. They wanted to be like their parents. So they'd become farmers. They'd become, just factory workers or whatever have you, right?
Right.
Whereas under Castro, there was a lot of children who actually ended up growing up into STEM programs. And they were able to get these amazing engineering jobs, these amazing medical jobs, and there weren't many doctors in Cuba at the time,
Shit.
and doctors became like the leading profession in Cuba. It became
That's
an
why-
amazing thing.
That's why Cuba has a better medical system than we do now.
Yeah, so Cuba currently, first of all,
Because of the abundance of doctors.
yeah, first all medical bills are free, including a gender reassignment surgery is now free in Cuba.
Whoa.
So yeah,
There you go, Dave.
It's definitely a progressive.
Damn it. Did we
But,
say it at the same time?
I was a little before you.
God damn
Yeah.
it. It's my shitty internet.
There you go, Oswald. You become Glosswald. Good night, Miller.
Good night,
Hey,
bud.
good night, Miller.
Have a good night.
Oh, Canada.
But yeah, we saw that basically the U.S. saw that the Cuban education system was actually becoming better than ours and better than most countries or most capitalist countries at the time.
Right.
And so because of
No,
that,
no.
the U.S. decided, hey, we're just gonna go ahead and put an embargo on Cuba. No one's allowed to trade with Cuba anymore. Now, the Soviets still did, because they didn't want to listen to the U.S., obviously. And the U.S. knew this. And so they found a lovely opportunity in which Russia then said, hey, we're going to give you weapons. It wasn't... So it was the Cuban Missile Crisis, right?
Right.
The Soviets gave the Cubans weapons. The U.S. thought it was nuclear missiles. It wasn't missiles. It was not nuclear missiles.
It's like Kalashnikovs and shit.
It was just weapons. It was weapons. I believe they were some nuclear weapons, but it wasn't like an actual nuclear bomb or a nuclear missile. And
It was like a nuclear-powered submarine and shit.
Yeah, it was just stuff to defend themselves, basically, against the U.S. Should the U.S. try to stage a coup,
Right.
which they eventually did. But it was just basic stuff to defend themselves. And the U.S. saw that, and that's when they started this massive Red Scare of, they have nuclear missiles. They're right next to Florida. They could bomb us at any time. And so they said, we must form a blockade and keep the Soviets from sending Cuba any supplies at all. And so at that point, no one was able to trade with Cuba, because any capitalist country that tried to trade with Cuba, the U.S. would immediately, like, they put that embargo, and
Yep.
so everyone was too afraid to trade with them.
Yeah.
And now the Soviets couldn't trade with Cuba because there was that massive blockade that they formed.
Yep.
And so Cuba got completely wrecked because of it. Their economy got destroyed, and it led to a lot of unhappy people. And because of that, people were able to say, look, all of these people are immigrating from Cuba. They're all like coming from Cuba.
You get
Which,
idiots
by the
like
way-
Jorge Masvidal talking about like communism and all this
Yeah.
and that when they get over
And
here.
by the way, at the time, after the Cuban Revolution, Cubans were getting paid. Like, the rich Cubans that owned land and owned slaves in Cuba at the time were getting paid to come to the U.S. and talk about how bad communist Cuba is.
Ooh.
Well, the U.S. is paying them to come
The
here?
U.S. was
What?
paying them. They were getting checks for being granted asylum. So if they would come to the U.S., they were getting paid, and it's why you see so many Republican Cubans right now in the U.S. is because there were so many that got paid by the U.S. government to basically just trash talk Cuba, and they were all slave owners anyway, slave owners
don't
or
like it.
massive business people. And so they said, yeah, they ruined our business. All because Castro wanted to take their land and their slaves.
Do you guys know
And-
why? Oh, sorry. Sorry, no. Finish your, because I'm going on a completely different tangent. Do your
And
shit.
so I was gonna say that's why it led to like all of us hating Cuba and us being taught that Cuba was a dictatorship. I mean, granted, Castro was authoritarian without a
Right,
doubt,
right.
but
100%.
at the same time, like, it wasn't as bad as people were saying it was, and because of that, now in our education system, we're constantly taught about how Cuba is a dictatorship. Fidel Castro was one of the worst people alive, comparing him to Hitler and stuff like that. And then saying that, and now like you have Cuban parents who were, or Cuban grandparents who were rich at the time that migrated to the US, and they're now teaching their kids are teaching their kids about how bad Fidel Castro was and how they had to bravely flee the country and stuff like
It's
that.
like a half truth.
Yeah, and I mean there were people that had to flee because if you had any sort of conservative ideology, you were pretty much either going to be put in prison or killed. And so for sure that was the, I think, wrong nature in what Castro was doing, and it just was too many political prisoners to keep and too many political prisoners to exile. And so because of that, of course, they're going to leave the country and then talk about how bad Cuba is. But even then, like, it was mostly the U.S. that did it, and now all of us think that Cuba was one of the worst places on earth when it wasn't.
What's our policy now in regards to Cuba? You're allowed to travel to Cuba now from the United States, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, I believe it was in like the early 2000s or something that we were.
It was during the
travel to Cuba.
Obama. I think it was during the Obama administration.
Oh, okay.
I want to say it was during the second term where there was something, but I just it escapes me what happened.
So we started. Travel was now allowed. Cuba allowed travel into from the U.S. and other countries, mainly because they needed the money, and tourism in Havana boomed, and it's why like so many areas around Havana are poor, but Havana is rich right now. But it was pretty much allowing tourism. I think under the Obama administration, we started actually trading certain things with Cuba.
I'm actually looking at that right now. As of 2018, the embargo is enforced mainly through 6 statutes, the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. There's a whole bunch of different acts that it's pertaining to. So it is still technically in effect.
The embargo, that's ridiculous. We still have an embargo over them.
So okay,
That's kind of crazy, actually. Now that I think about it,
this is what I was gonna say. Speaking of blockades, do you guys know why Japan bombed Pearl Harbor? Because the U.S. had a blockade. I can't remember who it was, but essentially Japan was running out of oil because the U.S. blockade, and so Japan was like, "Fuck these guys," and they went and bombed us.
Oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it says right here.
Damn.
Fuck. We brought it onto ourselves.
We literally just flex like all that. We create our problems and then go, look how bad. Like we're the victims. Look how bad these people are.
No, the reason why we flex like that is the military-industrial complex, dude. The only way this country makes money is by going to war.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Is by going to fucking war. That's
and
the
it's not
only
even
way.
really like the country that's making money. It's just the rich, like the wealthy, are making money.
Didn't World War II basically save our economy?
Well, it was the
I can't remember which one.
no, well,
The
it was
increase
the,
in production. because
Yeah,
of
it was
World
the
War II.
New Deal / World War II.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the New Deal really put us on the right path, and then World War II happened.
Mm-hmm.
Had fucking dumbass fools making bombs and shit.
It wasn't dumbass fools, it was women.
It was all women? I don't know that.
Rosie the Riveter? All the men
Yeah.
were off to war, Dick.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, that goes against my
Nah.
that's shattering my male fragility.
My joke didn't pop, so that's why.
No, it seems rather fucking sexist, Dave.
Yeah, it didn't work out, okay?
Ben Shapiro.
That
Alex
guy
Jones.
is a fucking ass, okay?
fuck Ben
I resent
Shapiro.
that one.
Yeah, honestly.
That guy doesn't.
What's wrong with being a man?
That guy doesn't like to have sex with his wife, apparently.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, his wife probably doesn't like to have sex with him.
That's what I think it is. Yeah.
I mean, right? Or he thought that. That's what Jordan was saying last time he was on. That she thinks getting wet is like some kind of like physical illness.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Isn't he like only like 5'5"? He's like the same height as you, right, Dave?
I'm 5. Actually, my doctor said I'm 5'8". So fuck
He was
you.
just about to say his real height. Did you hear that? He was about to say 5'6".
Ben Shapiro height. Can't believe I'm fucking looking this up. Supposedly 5'9", that little fuck.
He's 5'9".
He's,
Wow.
he's taller than you, bro.
No, at 5'6" and 3/4. I'm okay. There's a bunch of fake news going on here. He's okay. So Ben Shapiro has said that he is 5'9". Someone on Twitter is saying he's 5'4". Someone else is saying he's 5'6" and 3/4. I don't know how you get that from meeting somebody. I don't know, man. Fuck Ben Shapiro and anyone that really likes any of his bullshit, because that guy's a fucking weirdo.
Here, I'll put something in the private chat real quick for you to check out.
Okay. Here we go.
What is it?
Oh, Benny boy. Oh no. He's seriously like, I am all that is man. And he's wearing a Star Trek shirt? What a fucking douchebag.
So speaking of embargoes and stuff,
I'm so pissed.
that's how we fucked Venezuela up.
And Bolivia. Or not Bolivia with embargoes, but just
Venezuela?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Venezuela, we fucked up big time with embargoes.
It's like that meme of like Eric Andre like shooting
Oh
Hannibal
my god.
Buress and then turning
Dude,
around.
the ones that you're posting about people and the COVID restrictions is fucking brilliant, dude. It's so true. It's the same. The people blaming, going off on like, oh, COVID restrictions are killing small businesses, but they're the people that literally killed small businesses with their bad behavior.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm done with fucking all these idiots and their
wait, what?
thoughts on COVID.
That link was wrong. It's for some reason pasted weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Operation Gideon.
It was that's not, for some reason I didn't put that one. It put the wrong one. Operation Gideon. But Operation Gideon was the failed coup that happened in Venezuela, where a U.S. private military was arrested by Venezuelan forces.
That reminds me of Modern Warfare 3 when you're fucking at the airport with the Russian guys and you're bombing on Americans, like with like a Kalashnikov.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
crazy. And then they kill you at the end. They're like, we know you're the mole. So
Yeah.
bad.
So stupid, dude. Fucking.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, it was a failed coup. The dudes got caught up by Venezuelan government.
Yeah, it was former Green Berets who were apparently part of a private military that wasn't... I don't think they released who was funding the private military, but essentially it was a U.S. private military that tried to stage a coup. They got arrested and captured by Venezuelan forces, by the Venezuelan army. And their pictures are hilarious.
That's not... Oh, you got that?
Hold on, I'll pull it up right now.
It's just how bad of a look is that as the American government? How bad of a
Bro,
look
we
is
don't
that?
give a fuck. We don't care.
You know, it's the first I've ever heard of that.
What, Operation Gideon?
Yeah. I don't know if that's just me being an ass or I don't know what is.
Why
But
would you be an ass?
I don't know. That just seems like common knowledge.
No, it's definitely not. Like,
No.
most people don't know about this shit.
All right, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. No, that's fucking creepy, man. Like, there's parts of you that are like, damn, that's fucked up.
And
You know
so
what I
that
mean?
happened
Like,
in
you don't wanna
2020.
believe-
I mean, there was a time during the Obama administration even where there was a coup that was staged against Venezuela, and Obama himself was condemning it and calling it a coup. Like, he said, like, this is a coup, I do not condone this at all. And then Hillary Clinton actually came in and had said, a coup is a strong word, we're not going to call it a coup, when it absolutely was. Like, it was just such a fucking awful thing. Like, she just said, like, oh yeah, coup is too strong, we're not gonna call it that.
I love how people are
And it's
starting to
like-
like finally wake up to like fucking Obama, dude. Like what he did.
Oh yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
wasn't a great president at all, bro. He killed tons of brown people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's like one of those. It's so hard to say because it's not like he was like. I mean, it's really hard.
I'll give him
It's
kudos on
such
this,
a
right?
thing. He's not like a shitty person, but he's not like the greatest person. Like I'm not trusting him with my kids.
Well, no, I mean I would trust him with my kid, but I just wouldn't trust him to be president again.
No, I'm good. Yeah, 8 years was enough.
Well, no, I mean we all had this idea of like what he was probably going to be like before he got before he got elected, and then we found out who he was, and we're just like, oh, this is trash. This is the same
Yeah,
shit.
Scott,
it's the same stuff.
Scott, this was about. Yep, it was.
The Kunduz hospital airstrike, that was during the Obama administration. He ordered to bomb a hospital in which it was just innocent people in the hospital. It was 42 innocent people that were killed. 33 went missing, so most likely those 33 people are also dead. So
Vaporized.
It says Campbell said the attack was a mistake. How do you guys feel about that?
No, it wasn't a mistake.
It wasn't a mistake. It's just the public found out about it and it became widespread.
That was the mistake.
I
think
no,
that was the mistake. The mistake was that you found out.
the actual mistake was us actually being there. That was the mistake in the first place.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt.
I mean, what goes through your mind when, like, let's just bomb this hospital real quick, no matter who's in there to prove a point?
I don't think it was to prove a point. I think there was like actual intentions behind it, like other than let's just prove a point. There was probably somebody who they thought was there that could have been there.
Yeah,
It was just worth extra lives.
I think they they probably got intel that there was some sort of member of Al Qaeda or anything that was in there in the hospital, and they just said screw it.
There's an acceptable amount of collateral damage that they'll do
without a doubt.
Yeah, I wonder what that number is like in that.
I think it's like
their hard line is.
I think it's like 33 or 35%.
That's not real.
Look at Scott's looking it up.
I'm looking it up right now. In the Middle East alone, or just in general? Because in
general.
general, like the number is massive.
Yeah, they'll get away with a whole bunch of shit. I'm gonna go take a piss. I'm gonna go grow some balls and grab a beer. I'll be right back.
So, not that the buffoon is gone. Just playing. I mean, it really does speak true to who we are as a country, man. That we rather.
Oh, for sure.
It's just trash, man.
I mean, I think
it's aggravating.
It's this, and that's why I said it kind of all started with Mexico, because I think, or no, it started with Native Americans, to be honest. The second that we started like actively taking land from Native Americans, that's when it was done. That's when we just went full on imperialist, and we just said we're going to take over everything.
Yep. Where do you think the limit is for us?
I think the limit is genuine war. Like, they will work under the shadows for anything. And I mean, they will start some wars with countries that they know that nothing is going to come of it. But to say like, oh yeah, all of these countries that we formed a coup against, we're now going to directly start attacking them. I think that's where the U.S. would draw the line and wouldn't do that. There's no way that they would put themselves publicly as the villain that hard. Because I think most people understand that the U.S., I mean, outside of the U.S. anyway, that we are the villains in most cases.
Yeah.
But I think.
But Americans see us as the heroes. You know what I mean? We're spreading democracy throughout the world.
Yeah, and I feel like we get to a Vietnam War kind of point where it's just like, hey, our own men continue to die, and like we're hearing about how awful these situations are for our own people, and so that's where like the U.S. would get too scared and they would draw the line at there and say we can't do this.
Now, who do you think the government is more afraid of? Us citizens or their corporate overlords?
Oh, the corporations, 1,000%.
You think
corporations are what control our economy. They run our economy 1,000%. And the second that corporations start backing out of the U.S. government, like the second that government officials stop worrying about lobbyists and worrying about donations, is for sure the moment that like we start panicking and our economy tanks.
Yeah.
And so that they don't care about us right now. They're not worried about us unless like some sort of actual movement comes into play.
Like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, like Bernie Sanders, or just like, I mean, Democratic Socialists, the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, like
Yep. I follow
constantly
them.
spreading movements.
I'm a part of that. Yep. I
Exactly.
totally agree with that shit, bro.
It's just starting. I mean, so for example, like I know there are people that may watch this that aren't necessarily all about socialism.
Yep.
Democratic Socialists of America, they're not necessarily like we are socialists. It's all different forms of ideologies, and they just basically say we're trying to put the power back into the workers,
Yeah.
like not just like the people, because as soon as you put the power into the people in our system, that immediately puts the power into the rich.
Yep.
Because with advertising, with just simple like giving donations to people so that they can get their interest, like as soon as that power goes to them, it all goes to corporations.
Yep.
So just putting power into the workers is all it
Yeah.
is.
No, I agree. But I mean, like, you got to look at like the things
Yeah.
that like, yeah, you got to think of the things that like Bernie Sanders wanted to like get across with like his platform, right? Like, overturning Citizens United and stuff like that. That had to scare the fuck out of them, bro. Had to scare
Oh,
the
without a
fuck out
doubt.
of them.
That's why they run a
100%.
smear campaign. They run a smear campaign on any leftist at all. Like even Democrats will do it because they know that the second that they start agreeing with these people is the second their donations go away.
Oh,
Yep.
of course.
It's terrible.
Now I pose a question to both of you because this seems to be a talking point that a lot of people are. It's very contentious, right? How do you guys? Why does the other side not want the majority to have free education and free healthcare? Because I have my idea behind why. Fundamentally, if I was ruling, why you wouldn't want people to have those things.
So who are you talking about though? Like,
I'm
are you talking
talking
about rich
just
people?
Left
general-
and right, or are you talking about rich and poor?
I guess it'd be rich and poor. Like why the rich don't want to pay more taxes for free healthcare and education.
Money and power. That's all it is.
It's strictly a money thing, dude. Because you
I've
got to
always
think about
been-
it. You got to
I've
think about it this way, right? So, like with Amazon and Walmart, the two biggest like employers in our country,
Right.
they pay their employees such a shit wage because they know they can get on government assistance. So then at that point, the U.S. taxpayers is subsidizing this company's workforce, and because we're subsidizing their company's workforce, they're making more profit because they're paying their employees less.
Right.
Now the healthcare thing, it's because there's powerful lobbyists in our government that that work for insurance companies and like
health insurance is a shit. Like they make a shit ton of money.
oh yeah
And
oh
so
yeah
and
then
it's literally
plus-
making money off of people suffering.
and then now if you want to talk about it from like a left and right perspective, like the main argument that you get from the right is I don't want my taxes being used to pay for somebody else. That's
exactly.
it. That's
Yeah.
it.
That's all you ever hear from that side is the idea of like, well, what about the bum on the street that's on heroin and is all hopped up?
Get them help.
Get them help. Yeah, like if you don't want it, do
Now,
something.
don't get me
about it.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I believe in social programs a lot, but I don't want my taxes raised.
You believe in social programs because I think you see a lot of it on a daily basis.
Well, I do. But
What's the main issue? And I'll ask you this, you specifically, because you see it on a daily basis. What is it about those folks that all those programs are there in Skid Row? You see it. There's places where they can get clothes, where they get food, they can sleep, they can get educated, all these things. What's the one commonality there, right? You can't use drugs. You got to be clean. Every time I piss test you, you got to come up clean. Or you're on the verge of being clean, all that. And every time that comes up, it's like, well, I'd rather do crack than have a t-shirt.
and this is where we disagree, though. You and I fundamentally.
That's a real thing.
No. This is where you and I fundamentally disagree. Is I believe that addiction is. Oh, that looks good.
I'm brewing. This is like the second beer I've had from them. Very good stuff. Continue.
This is where you and I fundamentally agree, though. Is you don't believe that it's a mental health issue, and I believe that it's a mental health issue with drug addiction. I don't think it's as easy as like I'm not going to do drugs anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's all in the psyche at that point, bro, that these people need treatment to get off of these drugs.
But
I
isn't
think
that
it's
all compartmentalizing the issue?
so.
Well,
I
then
think it's a combination.
Wouldn't you say that about like depression? Like, oh, isn't it just all about compartmentalizing depression or going out and going on a nature walk and stuff like that? No.
Well, I guess it's all about learning how to do that for your specific issue. But
But even
No,
then,
dude.
no, it's also like it's about how it's about their mental state because of the system that they grow up in.
Yep.
So you grow up in a system where drugs are around you, and people like the U.S. first of all pumps drugs like crazy. We are the ones that constantly pump drugs into our country, and so you look at them pumping drugs into these neighborhoods because people need to feel better when they're poor and they don't have money to afford food and they don't have money to afford housing or anything. And so you pump these drugs into that system, and so they get addicted onto that, and that becomes literally their only coping mechanism.
Yep.
And even when you give them any sort of government help in terms of education, like free public education or anything,
Right.
A, it's not going to be great education, and B, they're still living in those neighborhoods where there's drugs everywhere.
Yep.
And so it doesn't matter.
Have you
But
guys
then also too, though, and then on the flip side of that too, like to compound upon that, these drugs fuck with their psyche, bro.
Yeah.
Like it changes their shit.
You've
So
seen people on crack, man. You've seen someone be totally normal, one part of their life, and then they start doing crack, and it's like,
they're
whoa.
a completely different person. And then even when they're sober, when they're not on crack, they're still a completely different fucking person.
Yeah.
So to
They're
just
recovering, and that's in itself is.
and see that to me, like that's where I just can't agree with the simple fact that that it's not a mental health issue, because it is, man. Like this person in their head thinks that it's okay to do drugs like this, not contribute to society and live home, like not have a house. Like they think that's okay.
And of course, it's different in every individual. Like for the
Yeah.
reasons why they would choose to not partake, like be a part of society, is, or not even choose. The reason, like some people don't get to choose. Some people are forced into homelessness, just because of the areas that they live in. That's why the homeless problem is so bad here in LA. But even if like they choose, they say like subconsciously that they don't want to partake in society. It's mostly due to different situations of like maybe they don't feel like they're dealing with depression and they don't necessarily feel like they deserve to partake in society and deserve like these benefits and stuff like that because they're not working. And you see a lot of situations where people have their own reason as to why they don't want to partake in society, or have different scenarios where they physically cannot.
But Scott, most of the time though, and my wife will come and attest to this too, because she's like been on the front lines of this before. These dudes and girls, they will all say, I don't give a fuck if my child is hungry, crying for food. If I have the option to buy crack, or if I get the option to buy them food, I'm buying the crack. And if I
That's
could
addiction.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
You don't think that there's something wrong in their
Yeah,
head?
that's something mentally like.
I
'Cause
think that's
we're all.
the chemical imbalance due to drugs. You get someone
That-
clean.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a
you-
mental health issue, bro.
Exactly.
When there's a chemical imbalance, that is a mental health issue.
That's so the same thing with depression. Depression is exactly like that. Depression
Yep, I
is
know.
a chemical imbalance in your brain to where like it's biologically you cannot do things, right? Biologically you can't think a certain way that maybe some people do. You know, and so it's just a lot of situations like that where people just it's hard to say, because living in the US, it's hard to say like, oh, these people can't do this. But there are a lot of times where it's like it's either they can maybe get out of it, or even if they could, it's this tiny chance that you can get out of drugs, you can get out of the prison system if you are that far gone.
I have a question for you guys, and I'm almost scared to ask it because I don't know how to ask it. But I'm just gonna let it rip, and you guys are just gonna have to answer it, all right? So,
Good.
have you guys heard of the gender dysphoria?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
You guys would call that a mental health issue, right? A condition that you have.
I would call
right?
it a mental condition. I wouldn't call it an illness or anything.
Okay. So, what would be the difference between like the thought process of a person who's addicted to drugs and someone that thinks that they're opposite of what?
So are you asking? So is the question what? If I understand correctly, is your question why do we want to get people who are addicted to drugs treatment and people who want to change their gender not
No.
treatment?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. I'm wondering would you consider that also a mental
No.
health issue?
No,
Because
not an issue.
it has been deemed by doctors and academics and all that gender dysphoria is a real thing. And
Yeah,
when you
but
look
they-
side by side with people that are transitioning or trans, they're feeling a lot of those same things. It's for me personally, it's a little confusing. I don't know if you guys wanted to touch on that or had an
First,
opinion on that.
like for one thing,
But
not
I'm all
all
for it. Like if you are transitioning or trying to transition,
Now he's trying to cover his tracks with the.
No, I just because I heard that term recently, and it just
You're just trying to ask if we're cool with trans people or not.
nah. I
Because
don't
you
care.
clearly
I'll be honest,
not.
if you are or aren't, I don't care really.
So
It's not my thing, but I'm cool with it.
you want to understand it, is what you're saying. Like
I
you
want
wanna
to
get
do more. Yeah, I want to understand it a lot more without sounding like a cocksucker that Zach was trying to make me sound like.
it.
I mean, you do that on your own, bro. So
I have a hard way of explaining what I'm thinking sometimes, but it's not. I'm not being like insensitive.
So hold on before you go into it, Scott? Why don't you just stop yourself before asking it and think the question through all the
I did
way?
it for 25 minutes.
It wouldn't take you 25 minutes, but either way, go for it, Scott.
So essentially, people who are trans, not all trans people, there are obviously people who have made that transition, but the people who haven't made that transition, from a medical standpoint, yes, they have gender dysphoria. Now, that's not necessarily a mental illness. It's not. It's not this.
That's how it's been framed. Like when you look at
It's
it,
how
online,
people would.
that's how it's framed.
Yeah, it's how people online would frame it. But even from a medical standpoint, that's not the truth. It is not a mental illness.
That's how people online frame it because they disagree with it. That's
Exactly.
how they frame
It's
it.
essentially a way of being able to like say I'm a transphobe, right? But
It's like
not
a scientific way of saying it.
yeah, basically. But it's not an actual mental illness.
It
It's
is.
something.
It didn't sound like it to me.
Yeah, because
So
it's
before you
such a-
before you get into that, you also, if we want to go from a scientific standpoint as well, science has also said that there's not just two genders. There's two sexes, but
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
multiple genders.
There's
there is-
gender fluidity. I think that's what they call
Gender fluidity.
gender is a spectrum, without a doubt, and so it's just
it. It's like 52,000 or something like that. Like it's
I have
like
no
a
idea.
15 number or something
I
like
have
that.
no idea, but I do know
It's-
that from a scientific standpoint, there are multiple genders.
Yeah. It's just
And so-
not boy and girl. Like,
Here's the problem.
No,
that-
see, no, you're conflating it.
See, that's where I want to learn more, and I want to say these things the right way.
It's not boy and girl. It's male or female. Those are the sexes.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are the sexes. But when we're talking about like gender, we're talking about she, him, it, that kind of stuff, dude.
yeah. hmm
I'll be honest with you, and
I don't like it. That's what.
no,
It's
it's not, I get lost in it. Trying to understand it. If there's layers to it.
don't
So
try to
essentially,
understand it.
yeah,
It's not,
the
it doesn't
solution-
affect you at all.
Well,
So yeah,
no,
the
it's just-
solution that
you know,
I'd say
it's
to it is if you don't want to sound like a jerk, like if you don't want to sound like a dick, essentially whatever someone says, hey, you should call me this, you call them that.
Yeah.
I've never,
Like, that's
I've
all it
never
is.
been opposed to that. Like,
Yeah.
No, but then
Whatever it is.
on the flip side of that though, don't even try to fucking understand it, dude. Like I don't. They just tell me whatever, and I go, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and try to understand it because it doesn't affect me at all.
I guess it's somebody's plight that I'm just like, oh, that sucks that you have to go through something like that. You know what I mean? Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so
Zach-
here's the thing is with anything in life basically. When someone has an individual experience, you should never try to be like, "Oh, I know how you feel." It's really hard to say like I understand what you're going through if you've never actually
sure.
done it. So all you do is just support the person. If it's
Yeah.
someone that you care about, just support the person. You don't have to say like, yes, so let me like understand things. Like you can put forward the effort to say like I am going to support you no matter what. It's not really like, but even that, like, so on the topic of trans people, like, it is gender dysphoria, but again, it's not a mental illness. It's just simply a feeling that people get where they don't belong in the gender that they were assigned. Right?
Yep.
That is what gender dysphoria is. It's just you were assigned a gender at birth, and you grow up telling
make it
yourself
seem-
you are
I'm
this
telling you,
gender.
Anytime you look it up, they make it seem like it's a fucking psychosis that you're going.
It's not. Yeah, it's not in any way. Scientifically, being transgender is medically fine. Like it's medically accurate. It's not like I know like so many people try to push like the XY chromosome thing, and science has since proven that like it's not just the XY chromosome that proves
sure.
your gender. And so
It
like
just doesn't make sense to me why that would matter so hard to somebody. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like
Because,
to
dude,
anybody
people are
else,
just. There goes your homie
Jeez.
driving down the street, fool. It's because people are so miserable
was
with
that
their
Need for
life.
Speed 2 outside your house right now, Scott?
yeah, what it looks
Oh,
like.
that was your homie, Scott.
Yeah.
That wasn't me, dude. That wasn't me.
It's because people are so miserable with their lives, dude, that they have to put everybody else down. That's
It's
what
the
it
same
is.
thing with racism and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like that's all it is. It's just
It's
trying
just
to
another
make
form of.
It's an ism.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
another.
It's an ism.
it's trying to make yourself feel like you are better than a group of people so that
Because-
you feel better about yourself.
Because they're different. That's all it is.
Yeah. That's all it is.
And with that being said, everybody,
That's fucking obnoxious, man.
it doesn't matter
really
how different you are.
It really does.
You will always find a place here with the Zach and Dave Make a Podcast. We want to thank our very special guest, Scott, for coming on tonight.
Scott with 2.
Thanks for having me, guys. Again.
I mean, that was dope, dude. We
Dude,
covered
Scott-
a huge range of
Oh,
topics
yeah.
tonight. That was fun.
Thank you so much for coming on, dude. You were on last time. You were fucking killing it. You were on today. You fucking killed it again.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
guys.
Zach, Scott, when are you guys recording again?
Monday. Oh, no,
Yeah,
the
should be
14th, I
Monday.
think.
You guys
Either
fucking
Monday or
left
14th.
the other night, by the way.
Mhm.
I didn't
Huh?
expect. I didn't expect a Monday night podcast. That was weird.
I think that's all we're doing from now on is Monday night.
Yeah, I think we're switching it up to Monday.
Yeah.
I like Mondays.
Yeah, catch the rip off the weekend.
Woo.
Well, with that being said, everybody, make sure to follow us on the socials. You can find us on Instagram as zadmap_69 because we're mature.
And our new slogan, Zach and Dave make a podcast.
We weird.
We weird. ...
So you can
you
find
go.
us on there. You can find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. No,
Like
you
it.
you could see us on there. Zach and Dave make a podcast. Facebook, Zach and Dave make a podcast.
We
Twitter.
do not know who we're having on next week.
We don't.
Because we live that way.
Yeah, because we weird. Zadmap_69 on Twitter. You can also see me and Scott on In the Neutral Zone podcast. You catch us on Monday nights.
Can I be a guest? When can I come on the show?
We ask you all the fucking time,
We
Dave.
do. We really do.
You know what? We're doing it on Monday.
No, I don't believe you because you're drunk right now. I don't believe you.
I've only had 2 beers.
It doesn't mean you're still not drunk. Look at
enough.
Look at Daniel.
Yeah, I was just about to say, look at Daniel. We ask you all the fucking time, you idiot.
You know how he was typing that? He was like, holy fuck, Dave.
clipping his nails. But yeah, follow me and Scott in the Neutral Zone podcast.
Yeah.
Just remember, everybody, like I said, doesn't matter how weird you are, you got a place to less. You want to know why? Because we weird. Peace out.
One
See ya.
love.